We are creatures of God who have been bestowed with the gift of reason. With this gift, humans are capable of doing extraordinary things, and one of the functions of reason is to recognize God. Humans are essentially designed by the Creator to be beings that need spirituality, to believe in a great power that cannot be explained by the human mind. However, sometimes this feeling is only truly felt when someone is helpless. The fundamental question is, does God exist? Who is God? Take a moment to reflect. Look at your phone. Ask your mind. Can such a sophisticated device exist without a cause? Suddenly it becomes a phone. It has a battery, a screen, can ring, be used for communication, and so on. Sophisticated? Ask again. Is it possible that this phone came into existence by chance or from something that didn't exist? If a small device like a phone needs a creator, imagine the universe with all its orderliness. The sun always rises in the east and sets in the west. The day can be counted even to the second. The extraordinary solar system, not to mention the systems and structures of various living creatures on Earth that seem to be designed with such precision. Did all of this come from nothing? Nothing means nothing. Something that doesn't exist cannot be the cause of something that exists. We can clearly witness this universe. In other words, this universe exists, and its existence is the cause of something that exists. The cause of everything is what humans call God. Now we know that God exists. And of course, the first humans created by God knew that God existed. The problem is, after a long period of time, humans defined God according to their own abilities, and thus differences in understanding of spirituality arose among humans. However, humans who use their reason correctly will surely find their God. Who is worthy to be God? The correct meaning of God is conveyed by God's messengers. At this point, many questions may arise in our minds. Why did God send someone? Why didn't he come down among humans and announce that he is God? We will slowly discuss each one. If we understand the meaning of the explanation in the first part, we will know that God is something extraordinary. God is something unlimited, while his creation is a creature with limitations. So, how can something with limitations visualize something unlimited? Therefore, God's creation can only recognize God through his attributes, not through his form. Because God is everything, humans can only know God through his inherent qualities. For example, we all know that God's creation can see, so we attribute God with the quality of all-seeing, meaning God can see anything, in any condition. The mistaken understanding is when we attribute God as all-seeing. We visualize God as having many eyes or eyes of various kinds. This assumption is certainly only our imagination. While God is something unlimited, then our imagination is definitely wrong because something we can still imagine must have limitations. So, it is enough for us to know that God is all-seeing. No need to visualize God's form with various eye shapes. Similarly, with God's other attributes such as God is all-powerful, all-great, all-knowing, all-merciful, and so on, it is enough for us to understand them as God's attributes. Based on the explanation, reason can understand that the one who is worthy to be God is. First, because God is the cause, creator, and source of everything, it means that God must exist before everything else. We can call this the beginning. Because he is the beginning, it is certain that he is also the eternal and the everlasting, because something that is not eternal is not worthy to be God. Second, God does not need anything to support his existence. Third, God is God, meaning God cannot be the same as what he created. Therefore, God cannot be visualized. Because everything that has size, shape, time, and so on, must have limits, while God is unlimited. Fourth, God is the most. Meaning, when humans see something great, then God is certainly far greater because he is the most. If humans see something strong, then God is certainly far stronger, and so on. After knowing the existence of God, as human beings we will wonder, does God have a name? Everything that exists must have a name, and since we cannot get acquainted with God, humans name him with his attributes that are inherent in him, such as the Almighty, the Most Magnificent, the Creator, the All-Knowing, the Beginning, the Great, and so on. To maintain the true definition of God, humans need guidance in addition to reason. This guidance is brought by messengers of God. Why do we have to appoint messengers? Why doesn't God just tell us directly? Surely we would ask that. Earlier, we analyzed that one of the qualifications of God is that he cannot be the same as his creation because he is God. God must remain God. We might ask again, why doesn't he manifest as a human and proclaim that he is God? Is God not capable? Surely God is capable of doing anything. However, know that if he did so, the existence of God would be chaotic, and the function of reason to know God would become useless. If God does not remain God to introduce himself, then surely many of his creations will claim to be him. Look at history. How many creatures have misunderstood and claimed to be God, but none of the requirements to be God were met? For example, there was a human who claimed to be God, but he forgot that the requirement to be God is that he must be the beginning. How could a creature who was born when the sky and earth were already there claim to be God? Of course, this is very contrary to reason. Not to mention the requirements of being eternal, and so on. Thus, no creature is worthy of claiming to be God. The creatures created by God, whom God chose to be his messengers, are given the task of introducing God and maintaining the true definition of God. The messengers of God were given instructions that we now know as the Holy Scriptures, which contain the words of God that have been conveyed to his messengers to be delivered to all mankind. So, is God one or many? As described above, God is the single initial cause that has meaning. Reason will find it easier to understand a single God rather than many gods, and indeed that is the case. The notion that there are many gods is only speculation that even their reason doubts. Reflect for a moment. Look, how many eyes do you have? Do you have 4 hands? Do you have wings? Do you have 2 hearts? No, of course not. We are normal humans like others. If we are the same, did we come from different creators? The answer is certainly no. We were certainly created by a single creator. The above brief explanation is a depiction of the Islamic view of God. This God is what Muslims call the name Allah. So the conclusion is your God and my God different? Answer honestly. If they are the same, then what prevents you from acknowledging that He is the true God? If we profess to believe in the true God, that profession needs to be proven with a declaration. That is why Muslims always say, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. It means that we acknowledge that all of this universe truly belongs to God, and that God is Allah. Or maybe we wonder, since God created us differently, is it wrong if we don't want to follow Him? Everyone does not deny that we were created differently, different races, tribes, nations, languages, countries. Is the purpose for us to worship different gods? Of course not. The existence of differences is a blessing given by God so that we can get to know each other. These differences do not mean that we worship different gods, because essentially we all come from the same God. So once again, what is preventing you from acknowledging that He is the true God?